but call it as it is. Well, let's go to John Chayka. John Chayka is a guy at the time, and John, I'm sure you're listening right now. At the time he's hired, he's 25. 25 might have been 26,
I think.
26 years old. He's hired as a general manager of the National Hockey League at 26. General manager of the National Hockey League. And let me tell you this.
Funny, we talk about giving people new opportunities. That might be a little too far on the other end of the spectrum.
Well, and truly, sincerely, it was. And John Chayka, I believe, when you look at Kyle Davidson, not Kyle Davidson. Who am I thinking of? Kyle Davidson? Mm-hmm. That went Pittsburgh, right?
Chicago.
Oh, Kyle Dubas. Oh. God, I'm so sorry. We do hockey once a week. I get
Kyle
distracted.
Davidson is the GM of the Blackhawks.
Yeah,
he's young. Yeah.
So Kyle Davidson, Dubas. Look at Dubas.
Davidson's 36.
So what Dubas was about that same age, and Dubas said, "I'm not ready. I'm not ready in Toronto." And he became assistant GM for a longer period of time, and he learned, and he had people around him. John Chayka came here, and I'm telling you, I was there in the room. So somebody can tell me it's bullshit. They're wrong because I was there. The plan was for him. First of all, I was told when I said some things to people high up in the organization, there's no way that this is happening, right? Like, you can't hire this kid. Absolutely no chance he's going to be the GM. No chance. It's not going to happen. Then it was, he is going to get hired, but they're going to get somebody that's been an experienced general manager of the NHL to be his right-hand man. Then that didn't happen. And then what happened is you get a guy at 25 who keeps reading the articles about how young and smart he is and starts believing how young and smart he is. I like John Chayka. I thought he always had time to listen to me, and I thought we had really good conversations. I like John. I think John's a very bright guy. I think he's very smart. I think he had too much too soon in a role he wasn't ready for. So when you look at his draft responsibilities, he tied every pick with a number, and it was all about analytics. It wasn't about the eye test. So the scouting staff shrunk. Everything went from eyes on the ground and boots on the ground to eyes on video. And everything had to go through John and Lindsay Hoffert.
He was like ahead of COVID times.
Yeah, it was. Everything had to go through Lindsay Hoffert and John Chayka, and John Chayka's tight group of people that really like to agree with John Chayka. And what happened is you start to get so confident in what your numbers say that you forget to look at what everything else says. And the best example is his first draft, Clayton Keller and Jacob Chikrin get picked. He didn't have the job long enough. That's not his draft pick. He was the general manager.
Solid draft.
It was, and he did a good job, honestly, trading for Jacob Chikrin. That's the Pavel Datsyuk. There's a lot went on to that. He did a good job there, but those weren't his picks. He hadn't been there for the whole year. When you look at his first-round draft picks, P.O. Joseph, Barrett Hayton. Barrett Hayton's one. He loved Barrett Hayton. He had Barrett Hayton number 2 on his draft board. Number 2. Like number 2, that's high. Yeah. And you look at some of the people after. I like Barrett Hayton. Barrett's a good number 3 center in the National Hockey League. But again, it goes to what you look at those draft picks. Then after that, it's Victor Soderstrom, which again, we can see what he did. Then you lose all your draft picks because you cheated, because you thought you were smarter than the rule book, and you thought you were going to outsmart everybody, and no one's going to notice, and you get whipped, and you lose your first round picks, and then you pick Mitchell Miller, and we know how that ended up. Another mistake, and then he's done. So when you go back through his draft picks that were John Chayka, that were because of statistics and analytics, Matthias Michelli and Barrett Hayton are only 2 people playing. And Barrett Hayton has played, I know he's played 209 games, but a lot of those injuries, he's never become the player that I think was expected. So when you go back to a player like Victor Soderstrom, you have to entrust your scouts more and allow yourself to listen to other opinions and other voices. Because when you get locked in on somebody that you only see 2 or 3 times, this is what happens. And when I talk about the Utah's management team, when you talk about Bill Armstrong, Bill went the other way, hired more scouts, got more people out on the road, put more money into scouting and development, and then you have to trust the people you put out there to do their job. And that's what was lacking at the Arizona Coyotes during that time period. There wasn't enough eyes on the ground. There weren't enough competing opinions to what was at the upper management opinion, and their opinion is the only opinion that mattered.